College football season is less than 100 days away currently, Ralph. I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
sure if you knew or not, but it is less than 100 days away. And one of the big stories of last season was Curt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers, who had the best season in Indiana football history. I'm sorry if you want to go all the way back to a season that I missed, but that was the best Indiana football season I've seen in a long time. An unexpected 11-1 campaign, now looking to build onto year two. And Curt had a press conference where he was, talking about obviously the season, and he had a friendly little jab, right? He had a friendly little jab at current Indiana basketball coach Darian DeVries, where he said, "Yeah, like I want to, use my NIL and get more players, but Coach DeVries is over there using up all the money to build his roster." Now, I'm not gonna take this out of context because when he did say this, it was clearly a playful kind of jab, like a haha, we don't have any money. But Ralph, we have seen some programs across the country be kind of not strong arm, but had to deal with the fact that their football program needs a lot of money as well. We've seen it with like Alabama, I know
Mhm.
sticks out for one, and honestly, a lot of schools across the country, and Indiana basketball is one of the best financial situations in sport, right? Like we all
Yeah.
saw the Norlander CBS article. They're one of the few teams that could have like a $10 million budget basically, and money is not an option. Um, so I guess with this being kind of said in joking, is this one of those like jokes, but there is a little bit of truth to it that like Kirsten A is like, hey, what about me, man? Like I just had 11-1 season. I need money. I need NIL to build a good football team. What's up?
We're learning more and more about the Curt Cignetti playbook, and this seems straight out of the Curt Cignetti playbook. Not because he wasn't joking. I'll get to that in a second. But do you remember what happened after the playoff loss to Notre Dame, where they were completely outclassed?
Oh yeah.
He said very similar things where he was like kind of half joking about how they got dominated, but were able to like keep it kind of close. It was only the second time they lost. Like he was being a little bit more positive while acknowledging that they got beat, right?
Hmm.
Then Notre Dame gets the championship game, and he's like, "Well, we played them closer than anybody else. Look at us." Like we all didn't forget the absolute butt puckering that happened throughout the course of that game where they just refused to go for a win, right? And he had excuses after the game that were half joking and different things, but then when the opportunity came back for itself at the end for it to act like it was serious, and he thinks we all forget how we felt and what we saw at the time, he tried to take it on like he was actually serious with how well they played and different things. They did not play well in that game. They butt puckered. He trying to censor myself here. He wussed out. He wussed out in that game. Now he's joking about this. Indiana's not going to be as good as they were last year. I would be surprised if they make the playoffs again. Right. I know they have a soft schedule. Schedule was really soft last year and things went their way. They did really well last year. No one expected Indiana to be good, let alone playoff good. Right. But they're going to take a step back this season simply because it'd be astronomical for them to be as good and make the playoff again. So when they don't, Indiana fans will still be happy, I'm sure, but there's going to be some parts that are probably like, well, you didn't make the playoff this year, or maybe you win 7 games or 6 games, and it's like, oh, that kind of a fall off is there. And he has the excuse now of the basketball team took all my NIL, and that's why we went back. He's setting this up for what's going to happen later, or what may happen later. Maybe he doesn't need to use it because they're good again, and it's all joking manner, but when you see the quote, you're going to forget, or he's betting on us forgetting that he said it jokingly and is going to bring it up at the end of the year. Like, I was talking about it before the season. We didn't have the NIL to get the guys that we wanted, and blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm, I respect him as a football coach because, again, he did something Indiana's never done before.
Hmm.
No one expected Indiana to be good, and they were really good. And he did a great job with that. But there's also this aspect where he is not the tough guy he projects himself to be a lot of times. There's a lot of this like kind of pre-planned scheming, it feels like, and then revisionist history based on what serves him the best. And I think this is setting up for if he needs it later.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with Cincinnati. Look, you can't argue with the results, right? That say what you want about the schedule, say what you want about anything. Like with all due respect, you're Indiana football. You went 11-1. You made the playoff. Like that you should be absolutely ecstatic. But there is a little bit of like this, like, oh, I'm the big, tough guy. I'm gonna do all this. I'm gonna do all that. I'm gonna talk my talk. And then when someone talks to me and matches my
Right.
energy, I'm like, well, come on. Like, no, no, I
Right.
don't want to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? We weren't even that good. We're just like the underdogs. Like, we got the chip on our shoulder. When the rest of the time, it's all like puffing the chest out. I'm here to stay. And even in this same press conference, he ended it after the like little opening joke that he had, kind of. He's like, he's literally said this word for word. If you want to elevate your school, be great in football. If you want to be great in football, you elevate your NIL. It's not time to relax. It's not time to it's time to take the next step. How good do you want to be? Okay, look, I'm not saying that's not a true statement, but like,
It's not true at Indiana.
yeah, like
It's not true at Indiana. Nothing
there
is going to elevate Indiana to the school more than if the basketball program makes a Final Four.
and also like I'm also not trying to hear that there is no budget for Indiana. Like I seen Michigan football pay people, I see Michigan basketball pay people. The schools that have this large money pool, they're doing both, right? Like if I went
Right.
back to Norlander's little $10 million club article, all the schools on that list that have football teams, they're paying a lot of money in football too. Like UNC basketball going to be a probably or could be a 10. Obviously their roster isn't, but they could be a $10 million roster because they have the ability to do so. They could do so in football too. Like I have a hard time believing that Indiana, like it's one or the other, right?
Florida's pumping a ton in the football program because it hasn't met expectations for a couple of years now, and they're pumping money in. They just won a damn national championship in basketball and are throwing millions of dollars in the transfer portal.
Mhm. Right.
Like it's not an either or thing, but a lot of times coaches will make it seem like an either or thing. Now, there are cases where it is, but big schools like Indiana and Florida, it oftentimes is not an either or. It's can you prove yourself enough to get that donor to open up his checkbook?
Right. And look, I have a hard time thinking that coming off that season, they're not going to be able to garner a lot of money. And the good thing is for Indiana, I don't think NIL is going to matter in their non-conference football schedule as they line up Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State. I think they'll be all right.
I think so. Yeah, Kennesaw State's the toughest game on that non-con.
You know what? I want to believe so, but I have no clue about Kennesaw State's football. Actually, no, they're a pretty good football school, aren't they?
They were before they moved up. I think they won a couple game, like one game last year,
Okay.
maybe.
Well, we'll see. All I want to say is that Curt Cignetti talked the talk, and he should not walk back any of the stuff that he said going into this season. In Indiana football, I think he's the one who's setting expectations, so he can't go back on it and be like, "Well, no, we don't have money." I would have
He had
won
the
if we had
quote
this.
last year where Indiana, like they're the new superpower in college football, and then when he needs to, he pulls out. We're just Indiana football who doesn't have NIL.
Exactly. That's not how it works. I'll be very interested to see what Indiana football looks like this season. Obviously, usually when you have that type of year, you got to build off it. You get the extension, you get all the, the hoopla and things like that. It'll be interesting to see how they build off that. But I think we'll be coming back to this quote down the road when it comes to it. But good luck to Curt Cignetti this season. Also, good luck to my dog DeVries. I think he's gonna turn Indiana basketball around. I might be buying into him just a wee bit.
One last thing. One last thing. The last college football coach that publicly, jokingly or unjokingly, went after the basketball program at a basketball school about like NIL stuff and the kind of school they were. There are two cases really. One was locally at NC State, where Dave Doran talked about State being a football school, and that was right before NC State made the Final Four in both men's and women's basketball. And it was Mark Stoops going after John Calipari at Kentucky, saying that Kentucky was a football school now. Both Dave Doran and Mark Stoops enter the season on the hot seat.
Mhm.
So Curt Cignetti, you're not there yet, but it hasn't gone well for football coaches challenging the basketball programs at these basketball schools.
Yeah, my one last thing, just be in lockstep. Just be good with. Come on, that's your coworker.
Yeah,
Play nice, be good. Everyone's gonna get their money. You'll be all right. Also, just win games. Be a ball coach. It'll be all right.